Another person, Elon Musk, asks, do you sell cars? And that's kind of funny because if you watch that ad and you don't pay attention to any of the print, like the Jaguar print, it's like, what is this about? Is this a fashion ad?
What in God's name was that? Where were the cars? Where's the Jaguar? Why were the deranged, angry folk wielding sledgehammers? How is that meant to inspire anybody to buy a luxury car?
Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Well, the last couple of days have been a wild ride, especially where Jaguar is concerned. You probably know by now they came out with a new ad campaign and it has been receiving a lot of mixed reaction. What I did now is to do a compilation of some of what the internet out there has to say, and the responses have been wild. Can't say much here because of the situation that I am in right now. Won't go into that personally, but I did a compilation of what you will actually see, what's going on, and then you can actually chime in. But personally, I think Jaguar has moved away from what their main core audience, their customers, their customer base, and what the company is all about. They might be going into a new direction. Not so much people want to follow that direction, but without further ado, let's get into some of these reactions.
What is it with the modern advertising industry and big corporate companies? Think Jaguar, think of the E-Type, think of the powerful logo on the front of the car of Inspector Morse, of a really great British brand. Well, okay, it may now be owned by the Indians. But have a look at what the modern advertising industry have done. This is the new logo. I don't know what it stands for, do you? And the advert showing some sort of almost non-human figures walking through a door without even showing cars. I'm not quite sure what they're saying or what they want to do. Strikes me as being another Bud Light moment. I predict Jaguar will now go bust. And you know what? They deserve to.
Okay, so there's the ad. And actually, the first time we talked about this last week, I was slightly hesitant in talking about it because in the back of my mind anyway, I'm thinking to myself, like, are we sure this isn't some sort of parody? Are we sure this isn't satirical in some way? Is this some kind of joke that I'm just not getting? Am I getting trolled here? But no, it turns out that was not meant to be a joke. It was 100% serious. So you've probably seen you've also seen the redesigned logo that they have there. And it went from a logo that looked kind of slick and cool and masculine, a look that makes sense with a name like Jaguar, to this new look, which to me, just based on the look and the font, kind of looks like a brand of cheap fruity wine for women or something. It definitely doesn't look like a car company.
I don't think I'm speaking with hyperbole when I say this is why Trump won. The fact that Jaguar needs to go is why Trump won. I have a little advice to corporate America and to the people who run our institutions. Not everything has to be. I'm not saying some things are going to be kind of, the YMCA, I guess, is kind of, it's been in that song for 50 years now. Some things are going to be a little bit show tunes. They're always going to be a little bit, plenty of straight people like them, but not everything has to be. Some things can be normal. It's okay. The stuffy old British car driven by wealthy women predominantly, that doesn't have to be. But most people who voted for Trump actually don't really care if some things are, they don't really think that much about politics. But what they object to is that everything has to be. That kindergarten classrooms and libraries have to be. That's what they object to. It's just constantly crammed down your throat, and no one wants that, okay?
That was a Jaguar commercial. It was avant-garde. It didn't really seem to have anything to do with cars at all, but I find it pretty inoffensive. It's kind of in line with like fragrance commercials. Has nothing to do with the fragrance, but for whatever reason, you're in the middle of a forest somewhere watching a model roll around in the mud. Now, when it comes to Elon Musk, the case is very different because he did not like this, okay? He did not like this ad and he is now referring to it as woke. In fact, now many on the right are calling it woke and Bud Light 2.0. So let's take a look at this X post where you have one individual comparing an old school Jaguar ad, which shows a beautiful classic Jaguar, next to a screenshot of this latest Jaguar ad. And Robbie Starbuck says, this just made me want to sell my Jaguar, and I don't even own a Jaguar. Another person, Elon Musk, asks, do you sell cars? And that's kind of funny because if you watch that ad and you don't pay attention to any of the print, like the Jaguar print, it's like, what is this about? Is this a fashion ad?
What in God's name was that? Where were the cars? Where's the Jaguar? Why were the deranged, angry folk wielding sledgehammers? How is that meant to inspire anybody to buy a luxury car? As for create exuberant, what sort of a slogan is that? Create exuberant? Did a semi-literate advertising intern on a 4-day coke bender come up with that? Create exuberant? Naturally, the ad has been mocked far and wide. Jaguar's tweet promoting that ad has some 125,000 comments, and approximately 124,995 of them are highly critical, and that's putting it lightly. People are so outraged by this crap that they're using AI to improve the ad.
Well, now it looks like a font downloaded on a quick Google search from dafont.com. It looks like a clothing brand logo that just started and just signed their lease at the mall that's about to shut down. And then I ran into the commercial. Did somebody not get the memo here? This is like a clothing brand or a fashion thing or a fashion show or some gala or whatever, and including the copy and paste responses.
Bring a diverse cast of actors dressed as Teletubbies, getting out of an elevator and prancing around like a bunch of art school rejects. Viewers are told to live vivid. A numpty in a red suit makes a mess with a paintbrush. Then someone who's either a man or a woman or God knows what takes out a massive hammer, presumably a metaphor, for what they've done to the brand. And the final messaging of the ad is copy nothing. Well, no one is going to copy that debacle, because this campaign will likely see this iconic British company go bust in a matter of weeks.
I don't know what in the androgyny I just watched when it comes to that commercial, but clearly there's some messaging underlying this new rebrand. They're talking about breaking from molds, deleting the ordinary, and copying nothing, which clearly speaks to this new diversity landscape that we have as far as our identities. You see a lot of androgynous models, men who think they're women, women who think they're men, different gender roles or characteristics taken on by the opposite gender, and clearly they're trying to usher forward this new reality at Jaguar as a company. And of course, you have the display of vivid rainbow colors. We all know the rainbow has been co-opted by this political ideology. So it's very clear what Jaguar is going for here.
Have we all been thoroughly had? Is Jaguar going to turn around next week and announce a hairy-chested V8 monster and reveal that all the EV stuff was just a marketing ploy? Were we going to be the ones that looked foolish as Jaguar laughs at how many of us fell for the obvious prank? I had almost convinced myself that this was all a bad dream and we'd wake up with a huge sigh of relief. Well, that ain't gonna happen. I can sadly report that this is indeed not a prank.
I think Jaguar can bounce back if they have the right management. I remember when I attended the University of Technology, shout out to UTech Jamaica, I majored in operations management, and case studies were the actual standard at the time. I'm not sure if they're still doing them now based on what I'm seeing happening, because I think we're losing critical thinking abilities. 3 companies actually came to mind, and I still remember them very, very much, even though I did them over almost 20 years ago. One of them is Johnson & Johnson, which is a global healthcare company, if most of you didn't know, and they're renowned for consumer healthcare products and pharmaceuticals and a lot of medical devices that we're utilizing now today. A pivotal challenge in Johnson & Johnson was when they overcame the 1982 Tylenol crisis, where someone was going around and they actually laced cyanide capsules inside the bottles of painkillers in the Tylenols. So Johnson & Johnson actually responded swiftly by pulling over 31 million bottles off the shelves nationwide. And they were the ones who actually introduced tamper-proof packaging, and they set a new standard in the way we see products today. And this little hack was actually decisive, and it solidified their reputation for prioritizing safety over profits, and it is now a cornerstone of their enduring success today. Another company is Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola actually went on a rebranding when they came about with the launch of, I think it was back in 1985. They did New Coke ad, but the word COKE was also short for the white powder stimulus thing that a lot of people actually used back then. Some are still using it now, God forbid, but more potent drugs are there around. And they endure this. It sparked a widespread consumer backlash for youth because it was the war on drugs at the time as well. So what they did, Coca-Cola swiftly responded as well, and they reinvested and reinstated their formula, and they came out with the now iconic Coca-Cola Classic. And it demonstrated the power of listening to customers. And this crisis turned a triumph, reinforcing brand loyalty and proved their resilience in the face of missteps, even though Coca-Cola right now is actually facing a lot of challenges, but they are still one of the top choices in beverages we actually use today. The other company that came to mind, so many of them, but the other company that came to mind is Chrysler. Chrysler is another symbol of resilience, not in today's market, but at the time they went near collapse in terms of bankruptcy in the 1970s, and the company secured a government backed loan in 1979, and they introduced an innovative model like the K car and the minivan, and it revived the company's fortune under Lee Iacocca's leadership. That was a great man at the time during his time, and Chrysler defined its product strategy and marketing, eventually repaying the loan early and remaining stable up until today. Stellantis decided to go another direction. But all in all of this, at that time, there were people actually there doing the work, and they focused on their core brand and their core marketing strategy. Not so much today. I think we have taken a turn for the worst, and this is one of the reasons why I keep emphasizing benchmarking, best practices. Go back to what the greats did, our predecessors did, and look at it. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. Benchmarking best practices is just a short synopsis of what the whole strategy is all about. But when we dig deeper, you will actually see the layers come about in what I'm trying to talk about. Critical thinking, it's missing in today's world.
Another iconic brand, another beloved brand, another brand with history and heritage coming out of its ears has been infected. I'm only getting warmed up here. The iconic Jaguar logo that we all know and love, well, that's gone. That's ditched immediately in favor of this.
What? What the f?
Sorry, hurt my eyes a bit there. Now, I know what you're thinking. Okay, well, that's a bad start. But surely that's it. It couldn't possibly get any worse. Well, it can always get worse. It seems they then went and hired this cretin here.
At Jaguar, we're passionate about our people, and we're committed to fostering a diverse, inclusive, and unified culture. And we're on a transformative journey of our own, driven by a belief in diversity, inclusion, creativity.
You always have to get a cretin on board if you really want to nuke your brand.
Take a look at Charlotte Blanc here. My question is, why is it that most of these companies fail through their marketing campaigns? Their head of operations are either feminists. The campaign manager for Jaguar explaining, little that people know, over 90% of the products being used today by women were actually created by men. But I digress. As far as how I see it, most of these people actually need Michael.
Stop it. Get some help.
As usual, please share your thoughts in the comments below. Remember to grab a copy of my ebook, The Parts Manager Guide. Please smash that like button on your way out. It will only take you 1.5 seconds to do so. Until next time.